Hey guys, good afternoon. It is Wednesday, May the 20th. I'm teacher Mark, and this is English class. Today in English, we're just going to answer some questions about the reading from today, which, if you watched my previous video, the long one about language arts class, I described the story that we're reading today with some spoilers, and I apologize. But now, hopefully, we've all had a chance to read it, and we I think the questions today, they all sort of ask about via and going to school. But I think that those questions are important because that's sort of what the whole conversation revolves around. And it's it's the way that you get to see more about the different characters. I think, Via is obviously the main character in the story at this point, but the mom and the dad, we don't get to see them as often, but today they're pretty central characters. And we get to learn a bit more about them because if you guys remember, Via was supposed to go home with Miranda. The first day of school, Via wasn't happy with Miranda because she was different and all these things. So Via instead went home on the subway, which her mom really doesn't want her to do. But we see today that her dad does. And it's not the conversation that they have, if you guys kind of read it, the words that they use, like it says here, Dad said impatiently, and Dad answered fully exasperated. The way the way that the dad is talking, you can tell that he's passionate about this, kind of mad, almost I would say, because his opinion's very, very different. He thinks that Via's old. I think they said 15 years old, and that she should be able to take the subway by herself. So you have basically two parents, the mom and the dad, and they both think different things. And I wonder if this is something that you guys also have experienced, where maybe you want to do something, you want something, and one parent thinks it's a good idea, another parent thinks it's not a good idea. And how that plays out. I remember seeing that conversation when I was younger, and it was similar to what we read in the story. So I imagine you guys have seen similar things. But it is pretty interesting today just to see the difference between the two parents. They're adults, but they both have completely different ideas about what would be best here. So the questions, there's just a couple short questions. How does Via's mom want Via to go home from school? She wants her to do the same thing that she thought she did the day before, which is go home with another student. How does Via want to go home from school? She does not want to do what her mom wants her to do, so she has a different opinion. What is it? What does she want to do? What does Via's dad think? How does he want Via to get home from school? They all have their own opinion. Either she goes home on the subway or she rides home with another student. And the majority ends up being one or the other. So then the last question is, what do you guys think? You guys are 11 years old, 10 years old, somewhere in there for the most part. And I don't know. Would you think you're like 15 years old? Do you think that that's a good age to try and ride on the subway? That subway, there's many people there. It's busy. It could be, I guess, pretty dangerous depending on where you are. But 15 years old, you're getting pretty old too. So that's the last question. What do you guys think? Is Via old enough to be able to ride the subway home by herself? Or should she ride home with a friend? So we just have to answer those questions, send them to the teacher by 3 o'clock today, and that's it. And yeah, I guess I'll see you guys here a little bit later. We have a Zoom class here shortly, but until then, have a wonderful day.